What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. How is everyone doing? Blessings to everyone, peace and love to the people of the world. Today is actually Christmas Day, so I'm taking some time out of my Christmas to spend with you all and make this video. And as you see, I'm right in my kitchen, looking outside my window, so welcome to my home. So we're in the kitchen today, and as you can see, we're right next to this plant straight ahead of us, and that's my Moringa plant. And this plant's been around for years. And I remember, years ago I have at least 9-10 Moringa plant, when I remember when I plant these, from seed, and used to keep them outside most of the growing season, and one season I leave them outside too late in the fall, and frost came and they die. This one is the only one that survived, and not in this way, that it survived. I remember it was one straight body of plant, coming out from this spot, and when it died, it's the only one that came back, but it actually died off. The body of it died, because Moringa plant is actually one of those plants that have a lot of water in the body of it. So, for that reason, as soon as it get too cold and frost, it freezes, so then it died. So this one actually froze, and I remember not this exact one, but the one that was in the pot freeze. So the mother of these two here, which was one plant in itself, that one died off, and then the root of it spring. It's the only one. All the other ones in the other pots, died. The root died, it didn't came back. This one came back with new spring, and it came back with double spring, so a double plant. But years later we're talking about I'm not sure how old these Moringa plants are, this one is actually right now, but it's been a good time now. Probably 8-9 years, could be even more. But around that, say, this plant have do so much in the house here. As you can see, I move it. It go all the way up to the roof. This is a giant hanger for plants and herbs, in my kitchen. The kitchen is used for a lot of plant preparation and all that. As you can see, the space is all just plant and all that growing. We have some elderberry that I use from this bottle here, my medicine. But yeah, as you can see, this plant go all the way up to the roof. Because when all these are recent bearing that was on it, all leaves and foliage, and as you can see, this almost like it's stuck in time. It's look like it's green, but it's not green. This is literally giant Moringa plant, as you can see. But it's kind of how the plant is kind of example for this here. Doesn't it? This look like it's still alive and green. Even here, when you go to here, you can tell. It's like, oh, what's going on here? But opposed to like even here, it's kind of a strange plant in the sense, but because this here is green, it's still alive. But check this out. This is why we're here. This is how giant in real time this plant is. It's like it's stuck in time. Look at this branch here, almost look green. It does have some green in it. You can see this still have life in it. So it show you that it's not too long ago this been happening. But what I noticed, YouTube, that you have this one coming back in the picture. You saw her in the beginning grabbing her ball. She'd like to fetch. Her name is Macy. She's a new addition to the house. She's a wonderful cat, full of energy and troublemaker though. She's actually, don't know if anyone recognize this cat species before I said the name, but this is not a video about cats, so let's get straight to the fact that she's a Maine Coon cat, so if you know Maine Coon, she's gonna get big. Hey, Macy, say hello to the people. So yeah, that sure might be one that will be in few of my videos as time go. You know, she dying to go outside. She have made it outside yet, as she's been here probably like couple of months now. You know, she's new and she herself is just 6 months. You know, so say hello to Macy. She's full of energy, full of trouble, and just all over the place, full of enthusiasm. Is that the big red? All right. But anyway, this plant, you know, my mission here today is to save it in many different ways, you know, and you know, I hopefully I'm not too late. And I remember, you know, thinking back in the time when freezing, you know, this plant die, you know, in the frost and spring back, you know, new shoot as I express. Look at this live thing in the soil, YouTube. You know, you talk about living soil. Sometimes I'm not sure all these moving things, you know, they should be here in the sense of living soil, but it's a healthy soil though. But I think this pot in itself, I need to change it because it's also a damaged pot that I makeshift my own thing a while back just to save the pot because it was in the giant Moringa was in it and I didn't want to change it, you know. And you know, I use the same wood. It's all wood wood ash, you know, and wood strip and natural glue. I remember I used. So I need to get rid of this pot overall, and that might help save this root ball of this plant. But you know, say a month ago, I noticed here, you know, it was green and alive. As we come here, you can see this part is still trying to survive and hang on. You know, and as you can see, this one here is, look at her. She's climbing on my moringa plant too. So who knows if she, you know, look at that. She could be one that I know this is already, you know, died off, and I think as since then she's scratching to it. As you can see, if you still scratch in real time, this plant literally look like it's still alive. And this YouTube is literally a dead plant in real time, you know. So it's crazy how this plant can be, but I feel like it's the energy of this plant. And my stove is going off. I have a little bit of Christmas meal prep going. Not anything major because all the family are distant apart. My little young warrior haven't been with me for a while now. You know, that's a whole other story. Little sadness coming to it as well, but I'm not gonna go into that. But love you, Richie one. You know, Richie, wow, you're my everything. Daddy miss you, you know, we see you soon. You know, but anyway, how beautiful this plant is. You can literally see it's almost like it's still alive in, you know, it's stuck alive in real time, or just frozen alive even when it's dead. It look like it's alive. But as I was gonna say, I don't wanna be distracted from that point. I was gonna make that, you know, couple months ago, even less, this was literally alive. And I know what happened in the sense that and I just didn't get around to it quick enough. And I know it was bound to happen, you know. You know, at the time some of these was still green, like example here, and trying to survive. Typically, you know, that's why I know that maybe it needed to be repotted or something. Typically, this plant does respring, you know, and I can reap some of it. Sometimes it just go like this and fall off and dried up and, you know, respring. And, you know, sometimes that's what puts stress on plant too, you know, especially being this indoor plant now. You know, it doesn't get to do its full potential. I remember having it out late in fall, and in different years I can see blooming coming onto it, you know, but it never reached to that potential. So plants like this never really get to do what it meant to do in nature, in the sense that I have to bring it inside, you know. So it just succumbs to the time now where maybe it just want to change from this pot, wanted to be pruned, and I haven't pruned it, and, you know, and cut it back for over years now. So all this extra growth was just stressing the plant in itself. And after they died off in recent month, then these limb, you know, these branches trying to survive, and they just didn't have the energy in them anymore, and then that bring the stress on the whole plant root itself. And here, this is where this happened, and today I'm here trying to prevent this one from, you know, reaching the same fate. And this is how crazy this plant is. YouTube, look how healthy this branch is right here, as you can see. I don't want to pick into it too much. This is a plant like this, you know, this is where I'm typically looking for new shoots. You know, all this could be root. This tiny white dot here could be root stimulant, you know, just where root would come from in the plant, you know. So all these would influence root growth. But in real time, these little bumps and these little I find a best spot, you know, like here, right here, is where you would see like leaves spring from, you know. So these little impression, like example here, you know, here is a great example. This part is dying off already, but as you can see here is nodes. Is where a lot of the leaves would be springing from. As you can literally see, this part, I can't even break it off, it's still almost green, but not green enough where, you know, it still would die off, in the fact that it's you know, it's already to reach that point. The same thing with here. Weeks ago I could have saved this, potentially cut it here, you know, and allow it to spring back from down lower part here. But, you know, needless to say, I'm too late. So we're here trying to save some of these branch. You know, I'm gonna try to see if I can get some of it to spring and to give me new plant. And then I'm gonna cut back this up down to here. You know, hopefully this itself will give me new spring. It's not fully, you know, meet its fate as yet. You know, there's still greenery to it, but I can see how crazy it is, as I was gonna say, that how soft, you know, this is not normal. You see feelings start to, you know, it's almost a sign of rot and, you know, decaying, that the plant, you know, the same thing, is trying to survive and bring back life to these top branches. So it's taking a toll on the root. So we're gonna cut it back. This is fresh, as you can see, even more fresh and a lot more solid than down here, which is where all the life is coming from, to up here. But to see, this is where you have something like this, or, you know, these green part and these leaves almost freeze or frozen in time of, you know, like they're still green and still alive, you know. So we already have a preparation going here. I'm gonna get to it in a few seconds as what this is about, you know. But I'm gonna set back this in the tripod and cut back some of this plant. I'll show you guys, you know. So like I said, hopefully I do get to save a lot, you know, in the sense of this plant means a lot to me. And, you know, even though I can replant in itself, and if I get some of these to spring, it's still the family and the generation of that plant. But for what it is, it's been going for years, and I would like to keep it and just preserve it. You know, it's a special plant to me. So I'm gonna cut it back. This is something that I should have done a while back, and I literally have this thing here setting for a while to do it, and just didn't get around to it, you know. And just get on the angle. This is a cool tool, you know. You know, it's designed to cut plant. This is kind of a bigger stem opposed to what from these, but especially the fact that it's kind of dry already. You know, you can get them into it. Hey, plant. It's like trying to hold on. I want to let go. I they kind of have that soft spongy texture, you know, so between with the bark being so starchy. Kind of hemp. That hemp texture. Hemp feel, you know. So it's not even working in the sense that this tool is designed to cut more solid things, you know, not like soft thing that moving around that much. So let's use the scissors and finish the job. Before I cut this down here, I'm gonna press this and we're gonna cut these smaller one here. Then this is probably a little too late. Does have a little life into it, but not much. You can see. Let me see if I can get this in the video. You can see in the Moringa it's kinda hard to get that focus going. It's kinda at that sponge, here go. Maybe true, you know, you need a more object to focus on, so my hands get the job done, but it's kinda that spongy texture plant. You know, as you can see. Get it back focus. You know, this right now this is all medicine. You know, I could use this to make tea, and you know, which is I'm definitely gonna utilize a lot of it in that sense, rather than waste it. I can also compost it and put it in my compost bin, but you know, but as I was saying, that this might be a bit too late for my process that I wanted to preserve. You know, there's green into it, but it's also just a little bit too dry. But this other limb, this other branch should say is better. But man, this plant is very deceiving. You know, even though this look alive, look at it, it's just not a lot to it. But I still have faith in it, YouTube. You know, all this skin, cause you know, that's what I'm saying, this bark, this skin is still alive basically. You can see a scratch into the skin is still more alive. So even though in the inside of it is you know, the plant itself is losing energy. You know, look at all that liquid, you know, coming. If I can show example right here now. Here we go. So that's moringa, you know, I mean, look at that liquid coming from it. You know, so in typical time the plant is alive, you cut it, see how you can get liquid coming from it in real time. So picture a plant like this outside in late fall, freeze, you know, it's just gonna die because it's too much liquid in the body of it. So here, so crazy this plant is, or green and fresh these is, but like all these now, this where new growth come from, you know, new spring. But all this potentially, these white dot as I expressed, can be root stimulant, you know, all these root can come from. So my plan YouTube is to set it in this container I have here, and cover it and get some nice humidity going. These things are not necessary for this purpose. But yeah, we're gonna cut this one off. So soft this plant in itself, you know. This scissors is not a heavy duty scissors, simple scissors. And how it cut through this plant like a butter almost, in a sense, you know. But, and here is dying off, as you can see. You know. Not so crazy this plant is, YouTube. This is died, you know, dried, and above it it's green. So this plant is literally losing its life in different stage. Like the root on the bottom part of the plant, which you think would be alive, can die off before the top of it. It's strange. You explain that science to me, but as you can see right here is more dead. This part is a little more alive. You literally can see more life into this section. You know, my That's why this floor on this area is a little bit messy. We're gonna clean it up though, but there's a lot of plant get to stay in this area. Pointing to the where the southern section of the sunrise. So it does get a nice sun coming in through the day, that morning sunrise. But here, so I'm gonna cut this just a little bit more down. I'm hoping the body of it itself is not fully dead. See, I got more out of it opposed to this side. This side have more life into it, so I'm hoping here spring, I did take the pressure of it up top. So less stress on the plant. So hopefully this root ball itself, re-spring back for me, and that's my whole mission here. And like I said, a lot of these can ground up, make into tea, in that sense. And not necessarily meringue powder, I'm sure meringue powder, but the leaves are better off to make meringue powder. You're better off than the leaf to make that, but these branches here though are my price. And I'm gonna cut them into smaller pieces and bring you guys in closer to what my intentions are. And I have strong hope that this is gonna work and you're gonna get to preserve some of these plants in real time. I wasn't expecting that to actually cut, Scissors is not the biggest. Let's try this other one. And to damage the skin a bit too much. And you can see, YouTube, a plant that will just peel off the skin. So even though it seems it is alive, once you cut it, to propagate it, you're basically getting life coming back from here. This is almost none doesn't solve a lot of, obviously it's a part of the plant and it's very important. But in the propagation of it, this is where you're gonna get new sprout and new shoot coming from. Like in the sense I could use this bark potentially to get new plant from. These are the type of plant and type of species of plant that will do that, so you can get away with more of a easy propagation or just easy germination once you have the right environment, so I'm gonna take you over here and you can see this is a lot more fresh and more alive. So I'm just hoping that this section spring back, and if not, just like what happened years ago in the fall when it died, the root ball of it survive and new spring come from it. I'm not gonna repot it as yet, as I'm gonna repot it for sure, especially if I see new growth, new generation spring back from it. I will take it out from this pot and repot it, wash off the root ball and break off some of it and repot it, and give it a new home in that sense and new life, new purpose. And so the whole thing is that I honestly over the years, not so over the years, but over recent years, there's a couple years I haven't been reaping it as much as I should, and that's exactly the trouble behind what have happened to it. It finally succumbs to just producing so much growth. Come on YouTube, it was all the way to the roof. I used the light and the sun and it followed the light and bend. Look at that creature over there. Follow the light and bend, with the light. So that's why you get that all these curve and all this bend in the plant itself. So, it used to be in the living room. So, needless to say, I wasn't reaping it enough. But anyway, this is the ultimate ending of what this video is also about. That these are seed starters. You can see this is the original setting or the original other part of it. Part of the contraption. I have this top part of the dome. This is the bottom base where you would originally set this after you put your seedling and your plant that you're ready to start. But we're not starting any plant yet. Maybe next month we're gonna start some plant indoors, but for right now, I feel like this is a great idea, and I'm gonna create an environment to get these to grow new root. I think that's all the good pieces, what I mean, for the experiment and for what I express. This is almost dying off. As you can see, the top part of it is dying off. This part is more alive. The skin itself is a lot more alive, especially this section down here. For the experiment of it, as I expressed that, this is where the life come from, a new root, new spring. I'm gonna put this in here just as it is, and put it to the test, and we're gonna see if life come back from it. And but this is a nice simple mixture of organic soil mixture. It's more a texture, as you can see, almost a mulch texture, so typically I use this as a mixed medium to enhance and loosen my other soil that I'm mixed in, especially if I'm adding soil for my bigger garden beds outside, so. But I feel like it's a perfect thing for this, as I'm doing. As I'm gonna set these in here, give them a little bit of water, not too much, as the soil was already wet. I think that's enough. And I oversaturated it too much. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. But yeah, that's the reason why this area is a little bit messy, because I use it a lot for staging of plant and for my replanting time when I am looking to put plant outside for the spring. Set this thing here. Move this thing more over here. Can't leave it here. It's just for the video, because look at her coming. It's trouble. And my floor already all this mess. Oh yeah, as you can see, and then this thing go in it. This is not the best spot. I probably should put it back in the sink, honestly, because at least it was more flat and more better for my demonstration. And I could completely leave this thing temporarily, just sit in here, and it wouldn't be a problem with that cat. She would be coming back and destroying it. But yeah, look at that. So I'm gonna leave that, see what happened in few weeks, YouTube. Not few weeks, but a week for sure I should start to see sign of just life coming back in some of those outer body of the plant, But I would give, say, a couple weeks for sure to probably see new growth coming, opposed to just tiny little root farming, But these I'm literally expecting in real time for leaves to eventually sprout from those cuttings, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen even before roots start to form, especially the idea and the whole method that I'm using right now. I was gonna use sand instead, but I don't have any sand on me at home, and I didn't want to even wait one more day for this plant to sit here, because it's like every day go by, it's like just sucking its own life away. I'm just dying off, So before that happen, and before I even lose this to that, because if this root doesn't survive, I know potentially, like I said, I have faith in something from this group here survive and give me new shoot, You know, this is not a cut and edit video, you know, Yardman. Garden and Arts TV. We're not at that advanced level yet where we cutting and editing videos. So this is not gonna be a one-shot video where, click, you know, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. So 3 weeks later, we're gonna come in real time and show you and update you guys as to what has happened. You know, whether it's a fail or it's a success, we're gonna still highlight it. You know, and that's what, you know. And there's videos that I have mentioned to follow up on, and I will honestly say that at times, you know, it may not happen, you don't get around to it. But, and not just to say I don't get around to it, but honestly, as I've expressed, right now I have a newer phone I'm working with. You know, I've broken at least 2 phones since I've been doing this YouTube video thing, you know. And needless to say, many follow-up video and many video, other edition of other video. I remember planting vegetables, planning to show highlight of the you know, the progress and all of that, and what happened? Phone damage, loss of footage. Many of that happened to me in that sense, you know. And just needed to say that a couple months ago, not even really, less than a month, honestly, I exchanged phone. But before that, my phone was giving trouble, and I wasn't getting around to store video as much as I wanted, as much as I used to. And I did lose some video in a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately, but we're gonna move on to better things, bigger things coming 2026. So literally Christmas, as I expressed to you, coming live from Christmas. Christmas Day with this video. And but yeah, it's my special Moringa plant, and I'm trying to see if I can, you know, get it to survive. But as I expressed to you guys, you know, the more you know, more you grow for free. That cat, as I expressed to you, she's trouble. She this is a Christmas cactus type plant. You know, it kind of bloom beautiful red rose-like bloom in Christmas or in this time of year, you know, to say not just Christmas, but this time of year throughout the rest of the new year. But you know, these are just little part that she damaged from the plant. They all broken off. And no kidding, YouTube. Like here. I cut this thing off right here. And I've never witnessed a plant show new growth and new root spring as this one so quick. So as you can see, there's no new growth and new root on this one coming. I swear, YouTube, maybe not tomorrow, but for sure the day after tomorrow, if I put this in the water, I come back, I already see sign of that little root start to form coming out. You know, it's crazy. So needless to say that these are less than a week. You know, maybe this part is a little over a week. You know, but the rest is like a few days, honestly. You know, but I experiment with it already and try it. I have never witnessed in my time propagating plant or trying to get plant to grow and see a plant like this. But it makes sense though, the type of plant, you know. And as I expressed to you, that it's just ready and waiting to grow. All this part here is where life is gonna come from, all these joints. You know, it's like bamboo. You know, for example, this plant here, as I express and I say bamboo, it's kind of a bamboo plant. It's the same exact thing I did with this. You know, I need to repot it for sure, as you can see all that root and all that allergy growing actually in that. So I need to get it out of this bag. But this is just literally was a broken piece of this bamboo plant. And then you get root. This is a messy corner, as I said, YouTube, because it's all about just staging plant, you know. And as you see, the moringa was growing and hanging over, so don't judge me. You know, but you can help to laugh at all these little garden fun thing here. And you have little piggy wiggy and the rooster behind, not behind, but on top of him we have the duck here. Or is this a duck or a swan? Maybe a swan. I think a swan, yeah. And then Captain Owl. You know, but a bubble head owl. You know, this is something I think would actually help run stuff from the garden, you know. I never really have much trouble with, you know, flying in, you know, birds or that type of stuff. But yeah, this could actually run thing from the garden. As these are, you know, little garden ornaments. Yeah, in my little messy corner, you know, here. Yeah, my special. I'm looking to put these outside for sure, as before spring even, but looking to repot these soon. But I don't want to repot them inside because honestly, YouTube, I never seen anything like this. That these two here has been surviving for 5 years now for sure, you know, 4 or 5 years. But only because YouTube, I have them in this small cups. It is the craziest thing. I'm not even gonna go down into whole explanation because this video is going too long. I'm gonna try to cut it short here and then cut this one. But I'm gonna feature another video on these Scotch bonnet. They are all the way from Jamaica. The generation of it came from. But these two only survive because of these two containers. And I will explain that more because I had other generation from it that was growing outside in bigger pots and bring them inside after the fall. They were doing great, you know, over Christmas, beautiful Scotch bonnet, green and everything. And by the time the year should go on to winter come in and, you know, they just die off. I never seen anything like this. The green plant inside the house. You know, I think it's the environment and the humidity and just that temperature control. You know, because if they were in like a nice greenhouse where they were getting nice humidity and that, you know, good temperature and moisture, they would have survived. But it's like almost like they're frozen in real time. They were green and then they start to turn yellow for that sense and they just die off. You know? So these ones survive right here in this window for years, just in this tiny pot. Cup, not even pot. And you know, and as you can see, literally young pepper is always blossoms right through the year. You know, crazy looking contraption. I didn't do it to YouTube, I swear. But that is the hot tub, but for temporary winter setting right now. But as you can see right outside my beautiful window, lake is a little bit frozen right now. You know, not just a little, it is frozen in time, but not safe enough where you can walk all the way out in the middle, even though I've already seen fishermen at the shore fishing, you know, so that's another risk because in years and time go by, people have lost their life on the lake, you know, so some people just do take risks more than they should, you know, sometime in life. But we're gonna cut this one here. Here a little special friend came back to say hello here. That's Macy's, everyone. You know, Macy's or Macy, you know, to be exact. You know, cool cat. That's not even what I expect you to do. But anyway, YouTube, thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing this moment with me in my little messy corner of my kitchen, you know, where plants survive and plant propagate and plants start new life. You know, where plants survive and look out for the light and the sunrise to come in the morning. You know, so see you in the next video. Stay tuned. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Share, you know, we're trying to get to that monetization on YouTube, you know. And we're just gonna grow and get better over time, and you know, so I appreciate all the love and all the support. All the ones that been rocking with me over the years, even when I wasn't being that consistent, you know. So bear with me, and you know, apology if anyone of you on here see videos lately that you feel like, you know, it's not what you came on here to see, but you know, I'm really about nature and living, you know, living off the land life. And you know, any video that you see me share, really something that means something, in the sense that even if it doesn't make sense of what you feel the garden is about, and people always say stick to your niche or stick to what, you know, one subject, or you know, Yardman Garden and Arts TV is really about gardening and all that, you know, in the sense. But I do share other stuff that may inspire me or that I may capture, and feeling that I just want to send out a video. Maybe sometimes it's just out of guilty pleasure of the fact that, uploading a content, And like I expressed to you that I have lose many good contents over time that I have already captured, ready to share. And before then, something happened to the phone, something happened to the content itself and you lose it. But, thanks for the support. Remember to like and share. And see you on the next video. Merry Christmas to the world. Love to the people. If you don't do Christmas, Merry Christmas or whatever it is, you celebrate life and a whole for the day. Blessings to you, love to the people. You know what I mean? And keep growing food. It's best thing. It's organic food from home, and I'm gonna have a lot growing next season. And that's the thing. There's so much that I've grown in this yard that I have not captured, and this time as I feel like I do want to give you guys a true experience of what I can do in the garden, and example is gonna be what it's gonna be all about, and you have to prove it and show it. So I wanna make the whole era full of food next season, growing season. So grow food and keep eating healthy food from home. If you grow a tomato plant and taste it, you realize that you don't want to eat store-bought tomato anymore. So it's a special thing to grow your own. So, blessed love everyone. All right, peace.